Sunlit Man, I would read after book 4.
Let's talk about why. So straight from the text, we have rumors about Roshar being spread across the Cosmere, such as, and I quote from page 318 of Sunlit Man, do men from your world really become gods? Asked the Cinder King. You know what? Yeah, they do. So, like, option number 1 for why it's important, 100%, there's your foreshadowing. But let's talk about some other stuff too. Okay, props to Argent Sun, who asked Brandon a question, and this is enshrined in the words of Brandon. They asked about their Dawn shard theory being very close related to Maxwell's equations. Love that. And we got a super refo out of that. Fantastic. So, what are Maxwell's equations? Okay, what are Maxwell's equations? TLDR, Newton is to the physical world what Maxwell is to electromagnetism. He is possibly the most important scientist that has ever walked the world, like in figuring out all this stuff works. So Maxwell's third equation, also known as the Maxwell-Faraday equation, basically states when a magnetic field changes through a loop, an electric field is created around that loop, which can induce a current flow if, here's the deal, the loop is conductive. Okay. Does everyone remember those little tumble magnet generator electro thingies we played with in school? That. Canticle is that. Basically, what this means is it's got a center, obviously, and the magnet's going around it, right? It going around creates the electricity that comes out of the little generator and goes into whatever little toy you played with in school. Basically, I'll show you a picture. That thing. Remember that thing? Right. So look at how the light bulb is lighting up. That's going to get really important in 2 seconds. So the funny thing about Sunlit Man is it explains Maxwell's third equation better than most science teachers are going to, because there's an actual application that's being described, so it's not just a random ass equation doing whatever. Okay, the key is if the loop is conductive. So we see in Sunlit Man the revelation that we're gonna keep spoiler safe a little bit. Nomad. What Nomad finds out is there is certain things that conduct and certain things that don't. So if you become the conductor, you are screwed. And all the power that's generated is stored in the gem hearts, right? And of course, he figures out if you change the connectivity, it obviously works different. People don't have to die. Great. Peachy. Love Sunlit Man. Just what a way to explain that. So you might be going, okay, fine, but who cares? Like, we want to know about Stormlight 5. I am with you. Okay, so okay, all of Rhythm of War, basically Navani's science experiments in a book, right? What is something that Navani never covered in Rhythm of War? How spheres are charged, because in Roshar it's a foregone conclusion. It just happens. The storm comes by, boop boop boop, spheres are now infused, go on about your day. They don't have to worry about how to get the power into the thing. It just happens. Whereas this was the big problem on Canticle. We need the power. We obviously know how to get, but it's killing people. So how are we going to recharge this battery? Great. Maxwell's third equation. They needed, I'm going to start using, instead of a conductive filament, they needed a filament to get the power going through the sun heart instead of bypassing it. What was the filament? It was being charged with a small amount of investiture, and that allowed basically the load loop to close. Think of load like you have a light bulb, you take out the filament, right? Is it going to light up? No, of course not, because the filament is what's actually connecting the two circuits and making the light glow, right? Cool. So on canonical, the little bit of investiture acts like a filament, allows the power to go through it and charge up the gem heart. Peachy. Navani doesn't care about this. Navani, like, just the storm goes through, it's fine. Well, we see that Parshendi, of course, can exist without special forms and all that, but when they get a form of power, the spren is going into their gem heart, which, thank you so much, Melissa, for explaining how the gem hearts form in the last video. You're awesome. Okay, so we have gem hearts, spren goes in the gem heart, and just like that small amount of investiture and canticle, then the Parshendi's gem heart can operate and give them the power, because that is what is taking the investiture from the storm and making it into a usable resource. That's what does it. No spren, no form of power. Next conclusion. Cool. So we got that. That's all set up. Isn't it interesting that a Nihil bond is called something specific instead of just a bond? Without a spren and a Nihil bond, our Knights Radiant can't use investiture. So we see it with the Parshendi, we see it with the Knights Radiant. Spren are acting as the filament, the load-bearing item in Maxwell's third equation that allows investiture in the air to be used. That's it. Seems obvious. However, not explained, because in Roshar, like I said, this isn't an issue. Navani's gonna discover this, figure it out, and this is where the science is going. So now for Mother Mabor, we have how to move stormlight between spheres. We have everything that Navani discovered. But this is the key. The spren are going to act as the filament, and something big is going to happen that they're going to need a lot of power for. Be back soon.